Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I wanted to share some super easy, no oven required meals since it is summertime and it's very hot where I live, so I'm sure it's warm where you live too. With these recipes, you don't need to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and like I said, no oven, so your kitchen will stay nice and cool as well. To start this video off, we're going to make these hot honey chicken crock pot sandwiches. Into my small crock pot, I'm adding 2 chicken breasts. Mine were partially frozen, but that's totally fine. Next, you'll add a half tablespoon of cayenne pepper, a half teaspoon of smoked paprika, a half teaspoon of garlic salt, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and a half cup of honey. A little tip for you, if you're adding honey like this out of a measuring cup, spray the measuring cup first with a little bit of olive oil spray or nonstick spray, and as you can see, most of it came right out without sticking in the measuring cup. Then you'll add a half tablespoon of vinegar and 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Try to give that a light mix just to mix that honey and some of the seasonings together. Add the lid on top, and then this is going to cook for about 4.5 to 5 hours. Here's what my chicken looked like after the 4.5 to 5 hours. They are falling apart at this point, and the smell is going to be very, very strong. It's a good smell though, don't worry. I had a little trouble getting mine out of the crock pot because they were falling apart so much, and honestly, I could have just shredded this right here in the crock pot. But I ended up just going ahead and taking it all out and shredding it on a plate and then adding it right back in. Once it's all back in your crock pot, give it a really good mix together. You want to make sure that that juice is all combined with that chicken, and the chicken will soak some of that up. Here's what my finished sandwich looked like. So I just had some brioche buns here, and I added some sweet relish on top. By adding the relish, that sweetness really helps to tone down the heat of the sandwich, and it balances everything out so well. Next, I'm making some chicken snack wraps, and these are kind of like the McDonald's grilled chicken snack wraps. That's kind of what I was going for here. So in my skillet, I went ahead and added a tablespoon of unsalted butter and a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to let that heat up while I get my chicken cut up. You can use chicken tenders if you have it, but I just had some chicken breasts, so I went ahead and cut those into strips. Next, I'm adding Parmesan ranch seasoning. I love this seasoning. It is from Walmart. You can get it in the outdoor section where the grilling stuff is. If you don't have this seasoning, you could just season this up with salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder, or you could add ranch seasoning to it, anything you really want to. I don't know what the exact seasoning was on the McDonald's grilled chicken snack wraps, but since I love this seasoning so much, I went ahead and used this. Once those were seasoned on both sides, I went ahead and added them into my hot skillet, and these only need to cook for about a minute or two on each side since they are so small. I just made sure to brown them up on each side, and I did temp check them to make sure they were hitting at least 165 degrees. Now to build these snack wraps, I am going to be using some low carb tortillas, but you don't have to use low carb. I just decided to use those for myself. I'm going to add a few pieces of chicken into each tortilla, and then on top of each piece of chicken, I'm going to add some mild shredded cheddar cheese, shredded lettuce, and some ranch dressing. After getting those folded up, this is what they will look like. This is so quick and easy, and also a very light dinner, which is perfect for the summer heat. Now we're gonna make this shrimp and lemon pasta. I know not everyone's going to love this recipe, but ever since I tried lemon and pasta, I've become obsessed. Since it was just me this night, I did just make a small amount of this, so keep that in mind. After my pot of water started boiling, I added in 4 ounces of angel hair pasta, and I just cooked that according to the box directions. Into a separate skillet, I'm adding about a tablespoon of unsalted butter. You can use salted if you like, just make sure you watch your salt later on. And then after my butter has melted, I'm adding about a teaspoon of minced garlic. I'm gonna let this minced garlic cook in here for about a minute or so, adding a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. After that minute, I am adding in my shrimp. This is some pre-cooked, tail-removed, deveined shrimp. Since I was just making this for myself, I used about a 1/4 cup of shrimp, so not too much. I'm basically just going to let this shrimp warm through. I don't want to make it chewy and overcook it in this pan. So after it's been in there for just a minute, I'm going to go ahead and add in my pasta. And you're just going to mix your pasta up with this butter and the salt and pepper, all of that. Get it all combined really well before adding the juice of half of a lemon. You'll also want to make sure you reserve some pasta water, so if you need a little bit more liquid in your pan, you can add in just a little bit of pasta water. Just start very slow, adding a little at a time until you get it to the consistency that you want it. I also added in a 1/4 teaspoon of dried basil, gave that a good mix before giving it a taste, and then after I tasted it, I decided I wanted to add a little bit more salt and pepper and wanted it to be a little bit more garlicky, so I added a couple shakes of garlic powder as well. Once again, I'm going to get this mixed up super well, give it another taste to make sure it's right where I want it, and at that point, I'm going to go ahead and plate it up. Once it was plated, I added some freshly grated Parmesan cheese and some parsley on the top. This was so delicious. Even though it was pasta, it felt really light just because there was no heavy sauce on it, and I really enjoyed this meal. Last but not least, we're making this super easy Dorito taco salad. I could eat this every single day of my life and never get tired of it. I love taco salads. To start off, I'm cooking about 1.5 pounds of ground beef. I believe this was 80-20. I'm also going to add a little bit of red onion in here. You don't have to use red onion, you can use regular onion, but I had it on hand and it really needed cooked up. So I added about 1/4 cup of onion. Once my ground beef was all the way cooked, you definitely want to make sure you drain off any grease that there is. I'm adding in 1 can of diced tomatoes with green chilies, and I'm also adding in some taco seasoning. If you're using a packet, you'll need 1 packet of that. If you're using a big container like me, I usually use about 3 to 4 tablespoons until the taste is where I want it. I am also going to be cutting up some romaine lettuce, some green onion, avocado, and some cilantro with Roma tomatoes. Here is everything on top of my salad. I also added a little bit of Mexican shredded cheese, ranch dressing, sriracha. Of course, I added the meat on top as well, and I squeezed over a little bit of lime juice and added sour cream as well. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoy these recipes and it gave you some ideas of what you can make this summer when it's really hot and you don't want to be in your kitchen all day. If you made it to the end, please leave me a flower below so I know you watched all the way through. I appreciate it so much, and I really hope you come back on Sunday because I have a very special video.